Skip, remind you now, he only weighed 144, so he was basically 10 pounds, basically under the weight. But he wiped it out.
A much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that.
Canelo has to start playing catch up in rounds 4, 5, 6. Believe me, by the 7th round, Canelo's going to be a little muscle fatigue, right? We've seen that.
Shannon Sharpe issued a strong warning to Canelo Alvarez about taking on Terence Crawford, cautioning that the fight could end disastrously for the Mexican champion. Sharpe pointed to Crawford's superior speed, skill, and endurance, suggesting that the bout wouldn't just be a loss, it could mark the decline of Canelo's long-standing dominance in the competitive and unforgiving world of professional boxing. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez has opened up about his future, revealing that he now has a retirement plan in mind. Reflecting on his 2-decade career in the sport, Canelo admitted that after so many years inside the ring, he's starting to feel the physical and emotional pull of life beyond boxing. He shared that the desire to try something new is growing stronger with time, and at times, he simply wants to explore a different and more peaceful path. Eddie Hearn, longtime promoter and close confidant of Canelo Alvarez, has fueled speculation about the boxing superstar's future by suggesting that his upcoming clash with Terence Crawford could be his final fight. Hearn hinted that this bout might not just be another title defense, but potentially the closing chapter of Canelo's legendary career. Given the magnitude of the challenge Crawford presents, Hearn believes this could be the ultimate test that signals the end of an era. Having been by Canelo's side through various stages of his journey, Hearn understands the immense physical and mental toll the sport has taken on him. After nearly 20 years in the professional ring, Canelo may be looking for closure, one final statement against one of the most technically gifted fighters of this generation.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Scully?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age and life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires.
Canelo Alvarez's recent performances, particularly against John Ryder and more noticeably against William Skull, have raised red flags for Eddie Hearn. He's observed clear signs of aging, slower hand speed, diminished head movement, and a noticeable drop in punching power. The explosive force that once defined Canelo's prime appears to be fading, prompting growing concern about his ability to compete at the highest level. Adding to the anticipation, Bernie, a key member of Terence Crawford's team, voiced unshakable confidence in Crawford's ability to defeat Canelo. He didn't just praise Crawford as a great fighter, he called him a legend. What's even more telling is the subtle shift among Mexican fans. Though Canelo remains a beloved national figure, some of his longtime supporters are beginning to lean toward Crawford. This isn't just a matter of popularity, it's a recognition of skill, hunger, and momentum. Bernie emphasized that Crawford's performances have earned him global respect.
Yeah, they supporting him. They supporting him. They got their formula why Crawford want to beat him, but it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo like a living legend. You know, everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans don't like him, but I love him. I think he's he does everything good in the ring. I think, you know, from swag to everything. I just love Canelo. I can't take it away from him. You know, he had them little allegations and everything, and that's a damper on him. But I try not to focus on that. You know what I mean? I know he got in there with the baddest guys, the toughest guys, and he came through with flying colors. So I give him all the credit. Going up there and fighting Bivol when nobody knew who Bivol really wasn't paying attention to him. That man was a 25-year-old champion, the reigning champion, title defense under his belt, and young and good. And Canelo fought him. So, you know what I'm saying? That was a challenge. You feel he had the height, had the reach, had a lot of, you know what I mean? So I give Canelo a number of credit. I thank him for allowing us to get this fight. And you see what Crawford said. I didn't get to you know, Canelo got to fight these guys with the names. I didn't necessarily get to fight all the guys with the names when I wanted to, but I got him. Yeah, that's the I'm coming around full circle. And when God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean? Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it. It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight. We have legends fighting here. David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport. Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, and the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, you know, so it's a super fight. Again, I thank Canelo Alvarez.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik offered a blunt and honest assessment of the highly anticipated Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford matchup. Defying conventional expectations, Pavlik described Crawford as the physically stronger and more effective fighter in the ring. He highlighted Crawford's raw talent, tactical mastery, and impressive physicality as key advantages. However, Pavlik's most striking observation was his critique of Canelo's recent approach. He noted that Canelo has been fighting cautiously, focused more on avoiding defeat than asserting.
He's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, you know, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. You know, the guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. I'm not worrying about anybody, you know, saying, "Hi, you're wrong," or talking.
Renowned trainer Robert Garcia added further weight to the ongoing conversation, echoing the sentiment that Canelo Alvarez has clearly moved away from his once aggressive, knockout-driven style. Garcia put it simply, Canelo is tired. Having stepped into the professional ring as a teenager, Canelo has shouldered the demands of boxing for nearly 2 decades, and the wear is beginning to show. According to Garcia, the precision and risk-taking that defined Canelo's early years have gradually been replaced by a more cautious, energy-preserving approach, less about
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga but not Canelo?
Because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga, he wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, not in age because he's only like 33 or 34. But he's
Fighting since 15.
A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that...
The reason Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga while Canelo couldn't isn't necessarily about ability, it's about approach. Canelo doesn't go for the knockout anymore. In his recent fights, he's shown a clear shift in strategy, doing just enough to win rather than pushing for a finish. We saw it against Munguia. He dropped him but chose not to close the show. The same happened with Charlo and Berlanga. Canelo seems content to cruise through fights, managing the pace rather than overwhelming his opponents. Though he's only 33 or 34, Canelo has been fighting professionally since he was 15. That's nearly 2 decades of training camps, sparring, and wear on the body. He's aware of the toll that takes and now fights more cautiously to preserve himself for a few more big fights down the road. It's not that he lacks the power to knock guys out, he just chooses not to expand that.
The 168-pound undisputed champion. My fear is, if he does that, if he accomplishes that, if he is able to succeed in accomplishing such a magnificent goal, people will immediately discredit Terence Crawford and his victory, calling
Popular
him
analyst
drug
Showbiz the Adult described the Crawford-Canelo fight as potentially history-making. Beating Canelo, one of boxing's biggest global stars, would elevate Terence Crawford to legendary status. It's not just about titles anymore. It's about legacy. However, Showbiz also pointed to the double-edged sword of greatness. If Crawford dominates too well, conspiracy theories might rise. People may question how a smaller fighter outclassed someone like Canelo. In the social